Hello, good evening. You're watching News 9 Live. I'm Shweta Kothari. Here are the top headlines we're tracking at this hour. Indian equity indices ended flat in today's volatile session after Nifty crossed the 26,000 mark for the first time. Sensex closed just above 84,900 mark. Top Nifty gainers included Tata Steel, Hindalco, Power Grid Corporation, Tech Mahindra and Adani Enterprises, while SBI Life Insurance, HUL, Grasim Industries, Ultratech Cement and Shriram Finance led the losers. Sector-wise, the metal index surged 3%, while PSU Bank, FMCG and telecom sectors fell by 0.5 to 1%. The Supreme Court of US State of Delaware has ruled that Indian edtech company Byju's defaulted on a $1.5 billion loan, entitling lenders to exercise remedies. The ruling on 23rd of September allows lenders to take control of Byju's assets in the United States, primarily Byju's Alpha, and demand full repayment. Lenders have appointed Timothy Paul as the sole director of Byju's Alpha for the purpose. The EBITDA of IPO-bound travel tech platform Oyo is expected to cross 2,000 crore rupees in financial year 25-26, with American budget hotel chain Motel 6 adding substantially to its top line. According to various documents, the travel tech unicorn estimates that Motel 6 will add over 630 crores to its EBITDA in coming financial year, which will be the first full year of its integration. India's securities regulator, worried about malpractice in the frothy IPO market, is currently investigating 6 domestic investment banks that have worked on offerings by small businesses in the past year. The probe by Securities and Exchange Board of India, SEBI, began earlier this year and is focused on the fee that banks have charged as per media reports. Tata Motors announced 2 new versions of Nexon CNG model with starting price at 8.99 lakh rupees and electric variant with starting price at 13.99 lakh rupees. The maker said the company claimed that the following additions to Tata Nexon makes it the only vehicle in the country available in 4 distinct powertrains, that is petrol, diesel, CNG and electric. Good evening. You're watching In Your Interest and I am Shweta Kothari. The death of 26-year-old EY Pune staffer Anna Sebastian Periel has brought renewed attention to intense work pressures. In a letter addressed to EY chairman Rajiv Memani, Anna's mother attributed her daughter's death to overwhelming work stress. Now, soon after the letter went viral on social media, the case of EY employee's death became a hot topic. The authorities also launched a probe into what is allegedly an unsafe and exploitative work environment. Now, yesterday, on 23rd of September, the Maharashtra Labour Department inspected the EY Pune office and interviewed executives there. The inspection was done based on directions of the central government. The Union Labour Ministry has sought information from state officials on the tragic death of Anna Sebastian. Union Labour and Employment Minister Mansukh Mandaviya said that the ministry is awaiting the report, which is likely to take about 7 to 10 days. The government will act based on the report. Once the report on post-mortem and the police is out, the government will also speak to the company. Now, recently, Finance Minister Nirmala Sitharaman faced flack and was widely criticized for her comments regarding the death of EY employee due to stress, mounting work pressure and sticking to tight deadlines. Now, Sitharaman's advice on managing stress and believing in God went viral on social media and received flack from opposition leaders, calling it victim blaming and outright cruel. However, after her statement went viral, Sitharaman later posted on X and clarified that her comments about inner strength and spirituality were related to the university's new meditation hall and place of worship where she had gone for an event. Nonetheless, Anna's case has intensified discussions around toxic work culture, which leads to employee burnout facing severe work pressure. The data from International Labour Organization paints a grim picture for women in sectors such as IT, communications and technical professions. The data shows that Indian women in IT as well as journalism roles work for an average of 56.5 hours per week, which is over 11 hours a day in a 5-day work week and more than 9 hours daily in a 6-day work week. Now, not only this, women professionals and technical roles work over 53.2 hours in a week. In case of younger women professionals, the situation is far worse. In the IT and media roles, women aged 15 to 24 work on average of 57 hours per week, while young women in technical professions work an average of 55 hours a week, the highest among all age groups. Now, what exactly is leading to this workout, this pressure on women in particular and in general on overall people, the workforce, the young adult workforce in India? To talk about that, joining us is Lloyd Maas. He's an angel investor. Lloyd, this has become a conversation starter of sorts. The death of Anna has started conversations in IT, in tech, even in media. What tangible change can we really expect? Now, conversations are starting, authorities are making their investigations, but what can we expect coming out of this conversation?
Thank you, Shweta. It's a very, very important topic. And it's tragic that it took a sad incident like the death of a young person to trigger this off. But if one were to look at any positive outcome, I think the good part is it's kind of it's brought the focus on an issue that has been lying dormant for a while. I hope that over the next few months, the discussion moves further in terms of what can be done to prevent incidents like this recurring, right? I know that we're still in the phase when, a lot of blame apportionment is happening. The government has stepped in. There is talk of some legislation coming into play to make things more manageable. But I think at a very basic level, I would expect that two things need to happen. One is, I think, employers, specifically large companies, but even small and early stage companies like startups, need to relook at their entire approach to staff, right? You cannot look at labor purely as an exploitative resource, right? The numbers that you shared just now about people working 11 hours a day on a 5-day work week, or sometimes 9 hours on a 6-day, are truly startling. I think we have to recognize that people are humans. They have a life outside of work. They need to take care of themselves, their families. Everyone's fighting their own battles. So I would wish for a couple of things. I think one, directionally, we need to move into more sanity in terms of work timings, in terms of work pressure. Two, I think organizations and supervisors need to understand the ramifications on mental health. I see a lot of these issues because bosses tend to be slave drivers. So they expect that they want to really get work out of people and therefore tend to push too hard. I think allied with that is a problem that India as a society faces, where we tend to glorify hard work. Right? It seems very good when people say, "Oh my God, I did a 12-hour day. I've been working till 10 o'clock in the night." I think that glorification of hard work is dumbed down a little bit. I think that's been overdone.
Absolutely.
I think lastly and more importantly, I wish management and boards of large organizations start looking at this aspect too much. I think right now the pressure is so much on performance. Everyone is driving performance, shareholder equity, right? So the CEO is chasing performance. He's living his life quarter to quarter. Therefore, he puts pressure on CXOs and so on and so forth. And what eventually happens, as tragically in this case, a lot of the pressure goes down to the weakest part of the link, which is the new entrant, the trainees, the early interns. They are the ones who take a disproportionate load of the work.
Absolutely.
That part needs to be recognized completely.
Absolutely. That part needs to be recognized. And you're right. I think we are a culture that glorifies hard work, overwork, and we are also a culture that is more output driven. We take a lot of pride in the kind of output that we can give out, as also an emerging middle income country, which has a lot of talent. I think we have a point to prove. But should young professionals be made more resilient? A conversation that a lot of people are having online is that some work, some organizations, some kind of work has more stress in it. That includes auditing, that includes work of a CA. So the conversation therefore stemming from that discussion is, do you think it's about young professionals being more resilient, the Gen Zs being more susceptible to work pressure, easily succumbing to it, or should it be about organizations becoming more adjusting? I think we have come to a point now, about 80 years since independence. I think we need to now find a right sort of balance. We no more want to be a country, a third world country where you can find cheap labor. So do you think there needs to be a change in the way organizations function, or do you also believe that this is a problem to do with young professionals at work?
I wouldn't see it's a problem with young professionals. So I think first thing I'd like to say is that I do see, and I work closely with a lot of young people in the startups that I've been involved with. I think in general, young people are far more conscious of their free time, their personal time. And I'm being very candid here. I've seen a lot of early stage companies where employees are very clear that they do not want to work on a Saturday. I know people who turn down opportunities. I know people in general who don't really like the idea of taking calls after office hours. And I think both are completely justified. So my general belief was Gen Z is moving towards a slightly more progressive work culture than people like me who started our careers in the 90s. Right. The second point I want to acknowledge, and what you said rightly, I think certain professions are more prone to these long hours and long slogs and pressure down the line. All right. The chartered accountancy, the legal intern profession, advertising, your very own profession, Shweta, media. I know you guys work pretty odd hours and very often very late. I think there the recognition needs to come that the idea of pushing someone to the edge is not on. One has to accept that people have their own issues, own battles to fight. So until you recognize that people have different levels of resilience, there's no one hard line, right? There must be somebody who enjoys working 6 hours a day and does fantastically. And then there's a kind of person who likes to spend 9-10 hours in the office, and they're both okay. But I think the company has to recognize that don't push people beyond their limit. Do not equate performance and outcome with hours spent, right? Somebody could be working far more efficiently. So I think that aspect needs to come in. The other thing that I think we need to push hard is that the entire concept of whistleblowing in corporate India right now is about two things, right? You can whistleblow about financial irregularity, right? If you know of somebody in the company who's fudging accounts, well, that's a cause for whistleblowing. You can certainly whistleblow about sexual harassment, right? POSH is a well-established format. No organization encourage whistleblowing for toxic work culture, right? What about the boss who insists that his staff stay as long as he's in the office? He might be in the office till 10 o'clock in the night. And I think that's an area corporate India needs to look at. Whistleblowing is not just about sexual harassment and financial irregularity. Whistleblowing is also about pushing employees to the brink, a toxic work culture, places where bosses and colleagues bully each other, places where, it's like a white-collar sweatshop. I think we're not hearing enough of that. Lastly, I think getting in mental health, big organizations providing for counselors for young people, I think that would definitely be a step in the right direction.
All right, Lloyd, I'm very short on time, but I have to ask you quickly, would you think at this point can the government really intervene and insist on maybe workplace audit, mandatory employee feedback? Because that's what you said, whistleblowing should not be limited to sexual harassment. It should be about toxic workplaces as well. Why does it really have to be whistleblowing if there is a employee feedback and an employer can actually implement it? Do you think it's about time that we change our systems and government can do something about it?
I'm a little skeptical of government intervention. I do expect good guidelines to come in, which is nice. But I think a lot of soul searching has to happen directly from corporates. Now, let me tell you a little bit. I know that a lot of companies do what is called ESAT, employee satisfaction surveys. Now, we all know a little bit of that is, it's just nice to do stuff, right? It's the tick in the box kind of approach. I think it has to go beyond that. Companies have to put rules about having maybe a counselor. It has to have rules about not calling people on weekends after office hours. I know there will be exceptions, and that's fine. But I think keeping some broad guidelines in place on what's good and what's not good, and rewarding good behavior, right? A boss whose employees rate him very well for his work habits besides his output. I think that's where the switch has to happen. It's a societal change. It's not something where changing the laws and the bylines are going to help.
Absolutely.
Yes, I welcome the fact that government is putting attention on this, but it is a very, very critical area, and we're sitting on a tender box. I mean, I sense that if something doesn't get done soon, we could hear of a lot more cases.
Absolutely. And if nothing, I think, Lloyd, this has served us as a reminder of the cost of overwork on human life. And I believe this conversation is just the tipping of what could become a larger conversation at workplace. We're all having it already today. And I believe, as you, somebody who sits on boards of various companies, perhaps perhaps there will be a gradual shift towards a recognition of employees' rights and a better workplace for everybody. Thank you very much, Lloyd Maas. Always a pleasure, sir, speaking with you. Thank you for joining us here on News9 Live.
Thank you, Shweta.
Are you an F&O trader? Do you find yourself making profits or losses more common in your trading journey? If you're in the latter category, you're not alone. A recent SEBI study reveals concerning reality for individual traders in futures and options segment. Now, nearly 93% of traders faced losses between financial year 22 and financial year 24. Over 1 crore investors participated in F&O segment, and nearly 9 out of 10 traders faced an average loss of 2 lakh rupees each, resulting in aggregated losses of 1.8 lakh crore rupees. Now, with average losses amounting to 2 lakh rupees per trader, it's clear that F&O trading is far riskier than many realize today. Now, interestingly, a small group of traders endured even larger losses. The top 3.5% of loss-making traders, about 4 lakh individuals, lost an average of 28 lakh rupees each, including transaction cost. On the other hand, only 1% traders managed to make substantial profits, with just a small group earning more than 1 lakh rupees after accounting for transaction fees. Now, this builds on previous findings from SEBI, which reported that 89% of equity F&O traders lost money in financial year 2022 alone. Now, the new data spans over 3 years and offers a broader picture of risks associated with individual trading in high-stake markets. Now, one of the study's key observation is that larger entities, particularly proprietary traders as well as foreign portfolio investors or FPIs, fared far better. These groups collectively booked gross trade profits of 61,000 crore rupees in financial year 24, with much of their success attributed to algorithmic trading. Now, in contrast, individual traders and smaller participants continued to face significant losses, largely because of transaction cost. Now, demographics also played a role in the trend. Younger traders below 30 years made up 43% of F&O participants in financial year 24, up from 31% in financial year 23. Traders beyond the top 30 cities comprised 72% of the total trader base, and a higher percentage therein than in the other segments like mutual funds. The study found that over 75% of traders who experienced losses continued to trade in F&O. Now, this highlights a pattern of persistence. However, with such a large portion of traders facing losses, the reports urge caution, especially for those in the market who are new and without sufficient capital to absorb the high transaction cost. For individual traders, the data also serves as a sobering reminder of risks involved in F&O trading. What should they do? To get more guidance on the matter, joining us is Santosh Meena. He's the head of research, Swastika Investments. Mr. Meena, let me begin by asking you, why do you think retail investors end up losing more money in F&O? They are investing, the data says they continue to invest, but why are they really losing money?
For last 24 hours, this report has become a key points on social media, so everyone is talking about it. And the earlier report also was saying same thing. And after that, many brokers have started disclaimer on their apps. But despite that, the number is increasing further. Why they are losing money? First, this generation, most of them are youngster, and this Instagram generation wants instant money. So to make instant buck, they generally going towards a gambling philosophy. So I think most important point is that they are not serious trader or investors, and they come with a very small capital and try their luck to make initial capital. Most of them come with a capital of less than 30,000 rupees, I think 30 to 40,000 rupees. So the majority problem is that they try to make initial capital, like if you are coming with a 10,000 rupees, so that you buy an option, it will become a 10 times, and your 10,000 will become 1 lakh. Then this 1 lakh you will use for further investment, but it is almost impossible for every trader. And the next important thing is the lack of basic understanding of F&O. Most
Okay.
of the traders, or especially retail traders, don't know how the F&O works, how option works, because future options are not a linear products. There are multiple variables. Like if you know about the option Greeks, so there are multiple variables. So most of the almost 99% traders don't know about these variables. So lack of understanding and knowledge is another key reason. And you know that even best of the minds like CAs, engineers, doctors can't make money in the market because uh, knowledge is not only sufficient, because risk management and emotion management also play a crucial part. So there are multiple reasons because of that retailers are losing money in the market.
All right. As you said, there's not enough knowledge. So what are some key things to remember when trading in F&O?
Should understand what is F&O actually. So these are leverage products. So in leverage products, your capital can be wiped out in very short period of time. So you should not put your entire amount of investment in F&O products, and ideally it should be less than 5%. Some even HNI or long-term investors only put less than 1% of their total capital in F&O market. So try to keep your investment total 5% of your total investment amount in F&O market. And next important thing, you should educate yourself, understand the F&O world, and before entering into F&O trades, you should have at least basic knowledge how it function, how it works, how expiry works, how theta decay. So there are multiple things they should know before entering into the market. And it is not just a zero sum game. Yes, it is a game of two players where one will lose, one will win, but it is not a zero sum game, because brokerage and transaction charges also play an important role. If someone is making 100, so there will be brokerage and charges, and after deducting that, maybe he is making 90 rupees. And if you are gaining losing 100 rupees, so you are losing not 100 rupees, you are losing 110 rupees. So you should keep in that mind. And apart from that, you are betting against big or powerful entities like FIs and property desk. Recently, SEBI said that 97% money, the profitable traders are FIs and proprietary desks, and most of the orders were done through algo trading. So you are fighting against that entities. So there is a need for a strong preparation rather than just a random trading. So you should keep these points before entering F&O world.
All right, and now that we know that we're not been able to deter people from F&O trading despite various reports that are coming out and the percentage of people losing money becoming bigger and bigger, what are the some of low risk strategies that one can deploy if one is to invest in F&O?
In F&O market, there are multiple strategies. We cannot talk about all the strategies in very short period of time. But I want to share some of the strategies like spreads. If you are buying a call option, against that you can sell a high strike price call option, or even if you are selling at the money or in the money call option, you can buy high strike call option. So it is a well defined where risk is also defined, and loss reward is also defined, and you will also get a margin benefit. So you should go with the spreads like bull call spread, bear put spread. There are multiple spreads combinations, so you should look for those kind of strategies. And one of the ideal strategy I would suggest, most of the HNI investor follows like covered call and protective put. In covered call, what they do, they accumulate any stock equal to the amount of lot size, equal to the lot size. Like if you are trading in SBI, if the lot size is 1500, you initial first accumulate number of shares of SBI equal to 1500. Now after that, you short call option to generate extra income. If your calls become in the money, you sell your delivery, and after selling your delivery in the stock, you can again sell put option, which is called which is called a case secure put. If you are selling a put option, you will get an opportunity to buy same stock at lower level. So combination of covered call and a secured put is the best strategy for little those who are capital, some kind of HNI investor or traders. They should follow. If you are having a capital of more than 10 lakh, one of the best strategies covered call and combination of protective put.
All right, Santosh Meena, thank you very much, sir, for taking time out for joining us here on Newsline Live. Remember, 93% of traders face losses between financial year 22 and 24 dealing in F&O. F&O trade, not very advised there by SEBI, warning against F&O trade, especially young investors who are losing more money than they are making as far as futures and options is concerned. But with that, we've run out of time on the show. Thank you very much for watching.
Quite lived up to their pre-tournament billing, delivering a series of less than convincing performances. With 2 draws and a solitary win.
Your son will be Messi. No studies, just football all day. Go, my son, go. Make my face shine through playing football.
Not only your face, but also the country's. I will conquer the world by playing football. Come, let's go to Germany!
World's largest football talent hunt, News 9 Indian Tigers and Tigresses. In association with DFB Pokal, Bundesliga, BVB and India Football Center. Train and play matches in Europe. Register now and fly to Germany. IndianTigersandTigresses.com.
Hey, careful, huh? My daddy got it from abroad. Hey, disaster! How will you pay for the loss now?
In stock market, you should take risk as per your capacity and knowledge. Trade in options very carefully.
Wow, Dikra! Absolutely perfect. Take risk with full understanding.
सोच कर, समझ कर, invest कर.